Yeah, welcome back again. In last class, like in last lecture, we discussed PGR activities and pre-breeding. PGR activities and pre-breeding. What is this? Like we discussed, and today we will going to like now this class we discuss about policies and guidelines related to PGR management. Very important. At least 5 to 6 questions you will get in SRF in part B from these chapters. At least three can expect. Policies and guidelines. Okay. Then first policy was International Treaty on Plant Genetic Resource for Food and Agriculture. IPPGRFA means it covers all the PGRFA where it does not regulate non-food and non-agricultural uses, and it addresses diverse topics like conservation of the germplasm and international cooperation while sharing the germplasms, and assist the farmers about farmers' right. Three important things. Directly they will ask in the three sentence and select the odd one or select all are true, all are false, how many are false, how many are true. Directly they will going to ask. What is ITPGRFA? You should know what is broad term. International Treaty on Plant Genetic Resource, Food and Agriculture. It's established in 2004. Okay? It came into force in 2004. It actually act passed in 2001, but four came to force in 2004. What is the objectives is? First is conservation and use. Second one is international cooperation. And third one is technical assistance to farmer right. There are three important objectives of ITPGRFA. Then, if again the questions were asked, it is not under this act or under this law, under this treaty, the non-food and non-agricultural crops will not come. Only food and agriculture. That's why it is clearly mentioned, food and agriculture. But the crops like non-food and non-agriculture, like non-food, will not come. That you should remember. And how many number of crops, food crops, how many number of forage crops it's covering? It's also asked three times in the exam. Once in ASRB, two times in SRF. 35 food crops, 29 forage crops, this ITPGFRA was covering. 35 food crops, 29 forage crops. Then why it is created? Earlier, PGR is treated as the heritage of the world. Heritage of world. Means you are in India, you are in India, America, Africa, whatever it may be. An Indian can have access to African genotypes, or African can have USA genotypes. Any person in the country can have equal access for any resource of the any other country. That is earlier concept. Means these all the gift of nature, the heritage of the world, so that everybody have equal rights on it. But what happens? These developed nations, what they did, they utilized all the PGR resources like genetic resources from underdeveloped countries. Then they started patenting, and not they're not giving an equal benefit of sharing. For example, the profit came out of the PGR. There is no equal sharing between the countries. That's why to avoid this unfairness of sharing of the profit or getting the benefits, these policies came to existence. This heritage is not the gift of the world. The country which having the genetic resource, having the some sovereignty over it. They have some rights over it. If you want to assess, for example, if India, somebody want to assess the Indian lines, they should get permission, and if any benefits arising out of this genetic resources that based on India, they should give equal profit share to our country. That is actually the fairness. That's why to make that into a legal action, to make legally a legal framework to equal sharing of these benefits, these policies came. One such policy is International Treaty on Plant Genetic Resources for Food and Agriculture. Means benefits of sharing should be with a fairness. Means rules for assess and benefit of sharing of these materials. And both executive and incentive consumption, there are all rights. Okay, there are all rights, there are several rights, there are clauses, there are sections. I will share this ITPGRFA document. You read it. Okay, that much is not enough. What are the points I highlighted? These first 4 points. It's must and should. How many number of crops it's covering? 35 food crops, 29 forest crop. And what is the main objective? Conservation use, international cooperation, and farmers' right. When it is passed and when it is came into force. These 4 points are very, very important. And I will share the list of the crops. Okay, it's very important. In 2023, they asked mango and jackfruit are covered under ITPCFA or not? No, it is not covered. Like there are several questions. Sir, I don't know it is not covered or not. I forgotten. Like there is a list of 35 crops, list of 29 crops. I will share. Please at least try to read it. Okay, you will get an idea. I had asked also which crops which cover under ITPGRFA, which crops not covered in ITPGRFA. Many times asked in the exam. Then the another policy is Convention on Biological Diversity. It also very, very important. Many times it asked in the exam. Many times. CBD, when it came into force, the objective of CBD, many times it asked in the exam. CBD means covers all the biodiversity. Where ITGRF, it only covers 35 and 29. But here covers all the biodiversity. Yeah, I'm in class. Um, uh, night. Uh, okay. Convention of biological diversity means it covers all the biodiversity, but earlier it was only several food crops. And it provides general principle for using and assessing and benefit sharing. Every time we have PGR means all this benefit sharing is very, very important actually. If you're using someone properties or resources, you should have equal contribution. That to make it legal, these are policies came. Then, like which are the things which are not covered under PGRFA? It covers all. Then, legally binding countries that have ratified is 1923 on March 2002. Please now 2023 database you check how many number of countries have ratified it. Then, whosoever countries have signed this treaty, they should adopt proper legislation. Indian government actually ratified this treaty. That's why 2003, the act, I think 2002 or 2003, we passed an act, Biodiversity Act of India. And who is the chairman of Biodiversity Authority presently? Arunachal Reddy something. Reddy is there. This was asked in 2024. See, okay, Indian Biodiversity Authority, who is the chairman of Indian Biodiversity Authority, we will discuss next slide on. Then, these are all international treaties. First, I will cover international treaties, then I will come domestic treaties. Then, another one treaty called as International Plant Protection Convention on Plant Quarantine. It actually established in 1952 and in India, it's adopted in 2000 something. Then, it's actually an instrument forum which harmonizes the phytosanitary measures used in the trade. See, it's very, very because, for example, two countries are there. Take India and Turkey. Nowadays, Turkey having they have not that much good relation with India because of several issues like Pakistan issues, Kashmir issues. India sent some consignment to Turkey, wheat consignment. They rejected all the million tons of wheat just because of single contamination of wheat. Means they immediately changed some quarantine rules so that our whole consignment dumped into sea or returned back, I think. See how much cost it is involved. Okay. To go from Delhi to uh, our Karnataka, it takes a lot of money through flight for one person. Millions of consignment and to the ship that to thousands of kilometers, like 10,000s of kilometers. How much cost it involved? Suddenly they retried. Means trade is down because of the internal politics, the geopolitics. They they changed their quarantine law. They rejected our consignment. Not only legal, in a, let's just saying. I'm just giving an arbitrary example to bring the harmony between the countries. Means here on quarantine laws were there, here on quarantine laws were. How trade can happen? Means India is supplying wheat, but suddenly they're changing the rules, quarantine rules. Okay, we cannot take the wheat. Then where India should go and where the consignment will go. That's why to bring the harmony between the countries, there is a one treaty called as International Plant Protection Convention on Plant Quarantine. Means like some unique rules between the countries. Okay, how same rules between the countries so that it will facilitate the trade. It will make the ease of the trade. Okay, that's why many laws came. Then another treaty is called as International Protocol. Sorry, this spelling don't worry. International Protocol on Biosafety. Many times it's repeated in the exam. It actually came in year International Cartagena Protocol. I think 2006 or 1992, 2006. Yeah, 2003. Sorry, 2003. Cartagena Protocol. Actually, it is mainly on biosafety. For example, in 2002, 2003, like it's era of BT cotton or biotechnological GMOs, transboundary movement of the GMOs between the countries to regulate it are living modified organisms. This movement of living modified organisms regulated by this protocol came into force 2003. Okay, please read it. Okay, I will share this also. This document also. What is International Carta Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety? It actually came to force on 11th September 2003. Okay, please read it. And it's adopted on 2000 actually. That's why I confused. It adopted on 2000, but it came to force on 11th September 2003. Okay, and mainly these agreements mainly like transport, safe transfer and handling and use of the living modified organisms across the country. Means like safety protocols that you have to follow for releasing of GMO crops and safety protocols you have to follow while developing the transgenic crops. And if you want to transfer the genetic modified crops from one country to another country, which are the regularities we have to follow. All these things are covered by this protocol. Okay, this came under 11th September 2003, and but it signed in 2000, but it came to force 11th September 2003. That you should remember. Then another trade is called as TRIPS agreement, World Trade Organization TRIPS agreement. It came to force like January 1995 by after the Marrakesh ministerial meeting in 1994. It also asked many times in the exam. When was WTO was established? You should remember. Okay, like standard to set make the intellectual property rights that we will going to discuss. What is IPR? Types of IPR. It's very important. Then another one is treaty is called as UPOA. plant breeder right. But India is not the member of this. Remember, India is not the member of UPOA. Means UPOA aims to maximize the plant breeding efforts by providing infrastructure or a legal for the securing the plant breeder rights. For example, you are developing a one variety with 10 to 12 years your effort. Someone using and someone is making of money. For example, my classes, I made classes for different two institute, but they are using it for money. See, I don't have any right on it now. Okay, this is fraud. In the same way, the varieties developed by someone, but you are making money out of their varieties. It is absolutely fraud. To give some right to the breeder, legal right to breeder to claim its benefits, this UPOA came to force. Actually, these are very important. See, if there is no legality, then anybody can fraud you. For me also, it's done actually. It's my personal experience. Like this, UPOA, but India is not a member. Why? That I will discuss in PPVFRA. What happened in India? What happened in the situation? If you assign the power, what will going to happen? That I will discuss in PPVFRA. To safeguard the farmer right, we are not signing the power. That's very, very important. Then another one is FAO Global Plan of Action. It covers all food and agricultural crops. It's PGR crops related to food and agriculture, same like 2024. Actually, this is only modified to ITPGFRFA 2000 only. That's why I'm not going in detail, but it adopted in 1996. Then another one is FAA Code of Conduct for Plant Germplasm Collection and Transfer. It's adopted in 1993. India is not legally binding. Don't worry about it. Then another protocol is called as Nagoya Protocol on Assess and Benefit Sharing. It accepted and came to force in 12th October 2014. Many times, normally people will confuse between Cartagena and Nagoya. Please don't intermix. Cartagena for biosafety and it is for Nagoya for PGR, transfer of PGR. Okay, it came to force in 2003 and signed in 2000, but here it came to force in 2014. That you should remember. Then, when it comes to Indian acts, these are all international treaties. For Indian acts, there is an act called as Biodiversity Act, Biological Diversity Act, effective from 2004. Main objective of this bill is to conservation and sustainable use of biological diversity and regulation of access to biological resources, secure sharing of benefits out of the Indian biological resources. For example, if someone want to use the diversity present in India, they should take the permission from Indian government, like India Biodiversity Authority. Okay, we want to use the biodiversity that wild species that present in your country. Like anyone, even Indian citizen also has to approve this, take an approve from this one. Then they can order the benefit, they have to share equally. Like, for example, there are set of rules if non-Indian shall be subjected to approval from this National Biodiversity Authority, and this condition will not apply to transfer of genetic resources under any project approved by Government of India. For example, we have Melinda Gates Foundation. Means America and India have some treaties, but they are not now need to take approval. Because government only approved the project. But if any uh, personal individuals or any non-governmental project they want to assist this one, they have to take the permission. Then another one is called as, and please remember where the Biodiversity Authority is situated in Chennai and who is the present chairman of this Biodiversity Authority. Okay, it's all very, very important. When Act was passed, when it came to force, okay, they're all very, very important. And please read every point about Biodiversity Act 2002. Then another act was Plant Quarantine Act order in 2003 under destructive insecticide pest act 1914. It's very, very, very important. Many times asked in the exam. DIP Act 1914 and Plant Control Order 2003. It's very, very important. Means it's regulating the import of the plants into India, including import of germplasm, genetically modified organisms. And the authorities which are responsible for plant quarantine is very, very important. For if it is a PGR related in small quantity, NBPGR is the authority. But you are importing bulk. What happened? You are importing bulk one. DPPQ was the Faridabad was the authority that we will discuss. Like why this quarantine is very important. Why this the quarantine is very important? For example, most of the devastating effect. For example, you take Irish famine. Because of introduction of Phytophthora infestans in these areas, Irish famine occurs. For example, you take an Indian scenario, fly war, say fall army war. Now it is a devastating pest in maize. Recently, when I was in UG, it introduced to India, okay, through African countries or American countries. Okay, fall army means it's causing greatest reduction in the yield of maize nowadays, becoming major pest. In recently in 2020s, there is introduction of black thrips in chili. Nowadays, chili production is getting reduced drastically because of this black thrips from Netherlands. Actually, it introduced in 2020-23 onwards. That is why always this invasive pest or invasive diseases or any invasive crops like lantana camara you take become a major weed species. Parthenium you take become a major weed in India. Weed management very difficult for Parthenium. Okay, there are many water chant. It introduces the ornamental but now it became a weed. There are several examples, and this is very, very, very important. Like which pet is introduced from which country is very, very important as exam point of view. Okay, that's why to avoid it, we have some set of rules and regulations. That rules and regulations are the Destructive Insecticide and Pesticide Act 19, 1914 and Quarantine Order 2003. Please, not you have to remember exact the abbreviation of DIP. Plus, you remember. Okay? Then then another one is guidelines on safety of biotechnology by DBT under Environmental Protection Act 1986. This I have covered in detail in my YouTube lecture. Please watch it. What is Environmental Protection Act? What is the regulations of releasing of transgenic varieties? How we can release the transgenic varieties? Now, SDN1, SDN2s are exempted from these rules. How they are exempted? What is the safety protocols that we have to maintain? I covered two videos in detail about this thing. Please watch. Then I told like plant quarantine order. Who is actually the authority? I told we had to maintain some regulations under the act, but who will implement it? That is the thing. Who will implement it? For example, if it is a commercial company, for example, in India, bulk quantity, millions of tons. Who is the authority? That's a DPPQA. Then, headquarters. If we're trading in the small quantity, have to take the permission from PGR. Okay. Then how? First, to give application, then scrutiny of the application, then we have to receive import permit from the director of NBPGR. Then after importing this one, there will be quarantine, means isolating for some days. Then should have phytosanitary certificates from the exporting country. Then again, it is check for quarantine evaluation for some trade. Then, but after successful quarantine evaluation, then dispatch it to their importer. Okay? This is how the quarantine will. Please remember. Then, and the director import permit. This will be import particular zero type